This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. The spokesperson for Russia's foreign ministry has hit back in unusually strong terms at remarks from Armenia's security chief suggesting that the Kremlin allowed Azerbaijan to take control of Nagorno-Karabakh. Such figures humiliate their own people, Maria Zakharova said of Armen Grigoryan at a press conference yesterday, adding, "Citizens of Armenia defended their territory, sacrificed their lives, and considered all of that historically important. For many years, Armenia's ideology as a state was built precisely on those concepts. How can you betray their memory in such a cynical way?" Earlier in the day, Grigoryan, the head of Armenia's influential Security Council, directly blamed Russia for last year's loss of Nagorno-Karabakh, marking a notable escalation in rhetoric on the matter. Russia took Karabakh from Armenians' hands and returned it to Azerbaijan. This is the reality. Russia took Karabakh, I insist. Without Russia's permission, the war would not have happened, Grigoryan said yesterday at Opry, an Armenian think tank. There was no immediate reaction from Yerevan to the latest remarks from Moscow. Ties have deteriorated sharply in recent years, with anger and frustration mounting over what is seen as Russia's unwillingness or inability to come to Armenia's defense in line with treaty obligations. Armenia's top diplomat has reaffirmed his country's readiness to sign a normalization agreement with Azerbaijan within a month, as his counterpart in Baku again called on Yerevan to remove references to Nagorno-Karabakh in its constitution. "We have almost finalized the text of a draft peace agreement with Azerbaijan. Armenia is ready to sign a peace treaty with Azerbaijan within 1 month," Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan told reporters today on an official visit to Estonia. Grigoryan, the security chief, confirmed yesterday Armenia had received Azerbaijan's latest package of proposals for a normalization deal, but did not provide any additional details. For his part, Azerbaijan's top diplomat today confirmed there had been significant progress made toward a peace agreement, but reiterated that his country expects Armenia to change its constitution before a deal can be reached. The number of open issues has significantly decreased, Ceyhun Bayramov said today on an official visit to Georgia, but added, "In Armenia's constitution there are still territorial claims on Azerbaijan." Removing references to Nagorno-Karabakh in Armenia's constitution, as Baku has repeatedly demanded since the beginning of the year, is seen as a non-starter in Yerevan. Meanwhile, Mirzoyan today also expressed Armenia's willingness to normalize relations with Turkey, saying, "Armenia is ready to completely restore diplomatic relations with Turkey and open the borders. We already have concrete agreements to open the border for citizens of third countries and holders of diplomatic passports. I think it is time to bring those agreements to life." Yerevan and Ankara agreed to partially reopen their border in a landmark deal more than 2 years ago, but as of now the border remains closed. Since last week, the leaders of Armenia and Turkey, as well as their top diplomats, have held phone calls to that end. High-level contacts between the two countries are highly unusual. In related news, in Washington yesterday, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State James O'Brien indicated his agency is pushing for an Armenia-Azerbaijan peace deal, telling representatives at a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing, "We are very clear with Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev that this is the time to make peace." O'Brien, who oversees U.S. policy in Europe and Eurasia, continued, "It's a matter for that entire region and for Central Asia. All of those countries now export to the world only through China or Russia. For them to have a path out, they need to work through Azerbaijan. And in that regard, we need a peace agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia." O'Brien is set to arrive in Baku today for talks with Aliyev. Armenia's parliament speaker, a close political ally of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, has raised the possibility of holding a referendum in the country on joining the European Union, though without providing any details or timeline. "I think that someday in the near future we will have a referendum on Armenia becoming a member of the EU, and I am sure that our people will say yes," Alen Simonyan said in an interview published yesterday with Latvia's public broadcaster. Simonyan, who is on an official visit to Latvia, added, "What is happening in our region is the same story as what is happening in Ukraine, just the players are a little different. We need support for establishing long-term peace. We need support to become a full-fledged member of the EU family." Last week, Armenian lawmakers held a historic debate on applying to the EU. There were no final decisions made at that session. You can also take a look at the latest edition of our weekly Insight series up now on our website and YouTube channel. This week, host Eric Hakopian breaks down the implications of law enforcement's raid earlier this month on GG, Armenia's biggest homegrown taxi company, and explains the importance of Armenia's latest purchase of Caesar howitzers from France. You can find the full broadcast up now at civilnet.am or through the link in the video description below. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 1000. That's the number of teenage students from the city of Takasaki in Japan who will be able to enroll in free-of-charge programs in technology and design when the Armenian after-school education program TUMO opens a center there next year. That is according to a new agreement signed this week to establish the first TUMO center in Asia. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.